Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Duvet Diaries. Today I have a first actually, because this is the first podcaster. Other podcasts I've actually had on Duvet Diaries, and another beloved friend. So I'm so excited to introduce this person. If you're listening, you probably can't see who it is. If you're watching, you're probably thinking, say her name because you can literally see her. But it is my gorgeous friend Moyo.
Hey!
So Moyo is a member of Goaldiggers podcast, and yeah, I'm so glad to have you on here.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here. Excited to have me on.
How are you liking the setup?
I mean, I won't say what I first called the setup when I got here, but no, I like the setup. It's very you.
Thanks, girl. So if you guys don't know, like me and Moyo go way back. I've known Moyo since I was 11. That's crazy. That is
crazy.
insane. Like we've been friends since before we were teenagers, which is wild. Went to school together, and I think going to school together, we were a very competitive bunch.
Yeah.
Whether that be like via academics,
Sport.
We just wanted to be lit at everything. Music,
Yeah.
dancing. Let's just not talk too much about
No,
that.
the dancing was just you. Please, I'm not involved.
But like we just as a collective and just going to school together, growing up in school together, we dabbled and dabbled into different things, and it was like fun to be part of that journey together. And I mentioned sport and athletics specifically because for those of you that don't know, Moyo's podcast is actually a women's football podcast, which is amazing. And I would love you to talk more about that.
Sweet.
But I first just want to, take us back. Like, where did your love for football, I won't just say women's football, but football begin? Because you've always been into football. And when I can say, like, not even just football, Moyo's always been into sport.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, there'll be times you'll come to my house and I'll be in my room. Moyo won't be chilling with me in my room. She'll be with my dad and brother in the living room shouting at the TV watching football. So it's like, you've had a love for sport for years. It's like, it's not a recent thing, it's not a new thing. And I also wanted to touch on sort of, like, how you've kind of felt about, I guess sometimes there's this stigma attached to like women who like are into sport. Like I think sometimes people see it as like they're just being a pick me. They just want to like make it seem like they can chat to the man them. But it's like for you, it's actually been something that is an interest of yours. So where did that begin? How did that start?
Yeah. First of all, sport has just been like I think it started with my dad's. Like he was very much like sport, and I was just like, this is a great bonding activity for me. Like, when he used to be working outside, like, he'd call me and be like, oh, what's the score for cricket? Or, like, do you know what I mean? So I'm, like, flicking through the channels. But obviously, if I don't understand how cricket works, I'm, like, reading the scoreline. I'm like, why does it say 300? Like, hyphen 6? But it's just, like, cool.
What does that mean?
So, like, I started watching, like, stuff like cricket, tennis, more with him. And then football was always that thing that sort of, like, bound us together. And growing up, it was good times because United were just winning. Like, I support Manchester United. The glory days. Like, I feel sorry for like any United fan that is born in like the year post 2008 maybe, because like your actual knowledge, you won't remember those 3 years. I'm pretty sure you'd only really remember from like 2012 or 13 onwards, and we've been awful since then. So
honest.
Yeah. So no good time since. And I think that's more so why I like delved more into other sports. Like me and you both liked athletics, for example. So it was like more athletics, more football, more tennis, and it just felt like it was growing. And whilst that was growing, opportunities within sport were growing as well for me.
Right.
So yeah.
Amazing. And specifically now, I guess, Goaldiggers. Talk to us about that. How did you get into it, and what is Goaldiggers about?
Yeah, so Goaldiggers is an all-female, black-led football podcast.
We love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Woof. I'm going to give a shout, like a little woof woof. But yeah, the way that came about essentially was that one of the founders, Anita, basically like messaged me on Twitter. I think she'd seen me tweeting about football.
Moyo tweets about football, TV shows, and pretty much that's about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my bio on Twitter is like, if it's not sport, music, or if it's not sport, music, or film, chances are I've been hacked. And it's true. It is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she DM'd me on Twitter and was like, oh, I see you tweeting about football. I'm starting this podcast. Like, how would you feel about joining? And at the time, I was going to Leeds. Like, I was about to move to Leeds. So I was like, oh, I won't be able to film. Like, So she was like, cool, when you're down from Leeds, just shout me and then we'll like get you involved. And I was like, cool. And then COVID happened and I was like, oh, I'm basically back. Like, as soon as COVID happened, I was like, I'm basically back in London. So I messaged her, I was like, oh, I'm back. And she was just like, yeah, come to the studio on Saturday. Amazing. Came to the studio. And then since then, it's just taken off.
That's amazing. And what would you say your like viewership is like for Goaldiggers? Do you find there's like a lot of predominantly women, or do you find it's a mix that men watch it, listen to it as well?
I feel like it's still majority men, which is funny, but I think it's more so because generally viewership for sports stuff is male dominated,
right?
And so even though we're a women led podcast,
right,
because it is about sport, it still ends up being majority
and
men.
a lot of the topics, it's not like you're just talking about women's football, you're talking about
men's football. Like it started off like just being men's football. Like we weren't even doing women's football in the beginning. I think I started doing the women's football segment for us last year. So the women's football side hasn't actually been running for that long. I think it's been like a year.
Right.
But yeah, it's nice though, because I feel like girls who like listen or watch football and listen to podcasts see us as like an outlet. Like it's one of the very few all female, like, so that it feels like an outlet for them in terms of like listening to like anything football related. But yeah, viewership's been interesting for sure.
And I think it's interesting to touch on that, like the women that do, you know, watch football, that listen to you guys as it being an outlet, because you know, if you engage with sport and you love watching sport, and yes, it is very male dominated, you're gonna watch whatever is out there, so you can, you know, get that. If people are talking about it, you have like similar views or whatever the case may be, you're gonna watch it regardless. But I think seeing women talk about it, and also black women, it's just it's so much more nuanced, because it's like the expressions of how you say things or how you describe things, and the humour that can come in that is like more relatable. So that's why it's inspiring. I see you guys, I'm like, this is inspiring to see this, so it's amazing. In terms of like, I guess, because you spoke about it being, you know, very male dominated and such, how do you feel the sort of process now of seeing a lot of more, you know, women's football being spoken about a lot more, and like, you know, the success of the Lionesses and, you know, all of that? Like, how has that been for you, coming from someone that's been watching football for all these years, and we're only sort of now kind of seeing a bit more focus being put on sort of, I guess, women in football? And also just like, I don't know about you, but I remember like sometimes, you know, if women were playing football on TV, like just maybe accidentally coming across it, and then I'll look at the pitch, and then I'll see like the stadium is pretty much like half empty. And it's like now actually like, people actually going out to watch women's football, like England and at the World Cup. Like it's completely switched. So how has that been, seeing that sort of change for you?
No, it's been huge. To be honest, like what you were just saying now was exactly how I sort of got into women's football. So like I was only watching men's football, and then I think it was the 2019 World Cup, and I was like flicking through the channels, and I came across the Women's World Cup, and I was like, let me watch. And from that, it was almost like, okay, cool, like I liked this. Let me now follow the domestic league. And I think Man United women had just made a women's team that year as well, so it was very much like the pathway for me to start watching was there. But if I look like what you're saying now, in terms of like people in the stadiums, it literally is going up at a crazy rate. Like, I remember one of the games I went to early on, I think there was like 90 something people, which is actually nuts when you think about it, because like the games on average now, even for like smaller clubs, lower division clubs, still get like thousands. Like now, people like teams like Arsenal were selling out. They sold out the Emirates for one of their Champions League games, and that's like 60,000. So like the levels they can get to are huge. And what I've seen, especially like in the creation sense, is that so many brands now are actively trying to make an effort.
And that makes a difference,
They know that it's a market, like an emerging market essentially, and they're trying to tap into it early so that it doesn't look weird. Like, they don't want it to be that it's fully gone to its peak before they jump on. They want it to be that you can see that we've made like the groundwork beforehand.
So it looks more just genuine.
Yeah, like a lot of brands, especially, so not even just from this World Cup, so for the Euros last year, a lot of brands reached out to us as a podcast and were like, oh, like we'd love to get like you involved in something. Like we ended up going to one of BBC's media days, and they were like, we'd love for you guys to do like a live podcast episode, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we did a live podcast episode at BBC Sports Media Day.
And how do you find that doing it live as opposed to pre-recorded? Because that's a whole different ballgame.
Honestly, it was. Like, because when we're recording normally, sometimes people say some crazy stuff and we're like, remember that minute, cut that out, man, like, edit it out. But when we were doing it live, it was like, cool, let's think, let's prepare. That was probably the most prepared we've ever been. Normally we just turn up and talk nonsense. But like, this one we're like, we're going to be speaking to like Alex Scott, we're going to be speaking to like Farrah Williams, and let's actually make sure that we're...
Yeah, like, we're on job today.
Yeah. So, but it was nice, like, they were very much interested in what we were doing, because they see it as like a partnership essentially between us helping women's football grow.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's what we... Like, the partnership wasn't really there before. So it was very much like they're playing football and we're just consumers that occasionally watch.
Right.
And I think now they're seeing, like, the purpose of, like, getting, like, creators and content creators involved early. Because, you know, people have pull and people have, like, the ability to get up and more people to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's been good.
And that's amazing. And I think just talking on, you know, getting more creators and influencers, I saw, you know, the other day, because Moyo's always out doing stuff. Like, always out doing stuff when it comes to football. I'm like, where is she now? Like,
where was I?
Yeah, and I saw in your story, I was like, oh, is that Harry Pinero? Is that Adriana? I was like, I've got like my faves just, you know, just chilling on the football pitch. So talk to me about that experience and what that has been like.
So I said I support United, obviously, and Man United have been one of the teams that have really been trying to, like, make connections between, like, creators or, like, just regular people, basically, and football. Like, they're really trying to do the intersection, like, well. And organically. I think one of the agencies that works heavily with United, basically, like, someone messaged me and was like, oh, like, we've seen, like, your content or stuff, like, we've seen stuff you've been doing, and we'd love for you to speak on one of our panels in Women's Football Weekend. So I went up to speak on a panel, and this was months before what you saw was... So I spoke on this panel. They were asking me questions about, like, how I got into sport or, like, adversity that I felt whilst getting into sport and things like that. And that was a great experience. Like, we did that. We watched the game, hospitality, you know, all the good stuff. And then I just, like, sort of kept in touch with them in terms of, like, they always now, like, invite me to stuff. Like, even if they're doing stuff in London, they're always like, oh, like, we've got this. You should come to this. And they were like, oh, we do our annual games. Like, every year, basically, they do, like, an annual game at Old Trafford. And they invite, like, loads of creators, but also, like, ex-players and stuff like that to basically play on the pitch. But we have, like, a whole, like, weekend. So they do, like, restaurant on one day, drinks the next day, and then we have, like, a closing party after the game. But yeah, I was just telling these lot off air that, like, when we played at Old Trafford, like, if you thought you were fit beforehand, playing on that Old Trafford
and it's
pitch,
huge, isn't it? It's not the same.
It was the humbling of my life. Like, obviously, we weren't doing, like, if you come off, you're not going back on yet. It was like, just do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just sub off. And I remember, because, like, our manager that day was an ex-player, so it was Wes Brown. And he was like, oh, like, you've got this. Proper, like, psyching me up beforehand. And I was like, I've got this. I've got this. Yeah. 10 minutes in, I was panting like a dog. Like,
that's insane.
I was like...
And I guess it's just the running from one side of the pitch to the other. It's just like, I'm exhausted. They
were taking it, like, you mentioned Harry Pinero, he was taking it, like, serious as an understatement.
Really? Oh, I love that though. No, he was some people to do it. Because... Yeah.
Most people were taking it, but he was taking it, I think because he was the team captain as well, like, and we were doing it for charity. So, like, the winning team that day, I think it was 10,000 that was donated to the team's, like, charity choice. But, like, the losing team still had, like, 2,500 donated to their charity. So it was still, like, it's still win-win.
Yeah, win-win. No losers here, but there is a loser.
Yeah, and it was us, unfortunately.
Everyone's going to lose the team. It's tight.
Last minute goal.
That's hilarious. And it's so funny because I think, you know, I mentioned kind of briefly before, you know, we did sport in school, we did athletics in school, and I remember you were actually really big with basketball growing up. I mean, Moyo's tall. Moyo's the height that I just aspired to be. And I remember, like, basketball training, and it's so funny because you're in school and you're constantly doing this sort of, like, we're in sport all the time, we're in athletics all the time, so we're constantly training, and you forget, like, how active you were then, and then it's like a few years later, oh my gosh, we're 25, and, like, we can't jog for 5 minutes without panting. Yeah. And it's like, it's funny to, you know, kind of see the difference now, like what a few years can do. And I just thought about that in terms of, I guess your basketball training when we were in school. And I mean, your coach was intense. I did netball, and it was not as intense as basketball. I'll have you know that. Yeah. Like, you were doing like suicides runs. You were
in
like,
half term. In half term, like
talk a bit about that experience.
Listen, we were doing. I remember we did like a training camp in half term, and I thought we were actually going to be like basketball training. Do you know what I mean? Like, we turned up. He was like, "Oh, 8:30 start," and I was like, "That's a bit early," but like, it's fine because it was local. It was local to me. I turned up. He was like, "Yeah, two laps as the warm up." First of all, the 2 laps he's talking about, the pitch was like the size of 2.5 football pitches. So 2 laps is like you'll be feeling it. He was like, "Oh, there's bins in every corner. If you need to vomit, you vomit. You come
keep
back."
Going. Insane.
I was like, lit. Like,
giving Coach Carter. It was
no, it really was. It really was giving Coach Carter. But like, it's funny, because if I'd have had that training before Old Trafford, that would have been packed.
You would have been all good.
I would have been all right. Like,
yeah.
No, it was intense. But like, when I look back now and think about how many people that I did basketball with then are still involved in some respects of doing basketball now, I just think like the impact he had is huge. And then
because they're doing amazing things in the States.
Amazing. A lot of them are still like in America, and even if they're not currently playing, they're in like coaching roles in like top colleges, and it's huge.
And I think as well, like growing up in the area that we grew up in London and the boroughs that we grew up in, I think sometimes it's just seen as like, you know, sports for black kids, you know, like there's a stereotype like let's just shove them in sports. And I think aside from the fact that, like, you know, sports is, you know, kind of pushed on us sometimes, I think it was a big part of us, like, just growing up. Like, I think a lot of us had, like, natural ability, but then we're always told that your natural ability can't take you that far. You have to also train. I think it just gave us stuff to focus on. It gave us a way to, like, push towards something, and just to kind of show as well, like, there are people that were training with us that are doing successful things. I remember, you know, athletics, going to...
Listen, my dad asked me the other day, he's like, "Elizabeth, she's not doing long jump anymore and shit." I was like, "You better forget about that."
But we left that behind.
Elizabeth was training. She should have been at the Olympics.
People from my athletic squads are...
They're doing a lot. They're doing a lot.
Part of the GB team. But I know we all go down different routes, but it's just like, it is amazing to see how much like sport made a difference in our lives. I remember like being excited for athletics and like going to different athletics competitions, facing different, you know, schools and different areas of London, and just feeling like, oh my gosh, like we're representing something bigger than ourselves. So it's that sense of community as well. I was also going to touch up on, you know, obviously we spoke about basketball with you at school, but also you're actually looking into like women's basketball and kind of like watching that sport as well, more so in, I guess, like US, because I'm not really sure about the UK presence when it comes to women's basketball, but in America I know that it's, you know, a big thing.
Yeah, I think when I started, like, not hating United is a bit strong, but like when they started losing,
you hate them.
Listen, it's a love-hate relationship, but like when they started like losing, I was like, what am I watching right now? I was like, let me diversify, broaden my horizons. Sure. And I was like, I always liked basketball, and I was watching the NBA, and the difference between like football and basketball, like, is that with football the men's and women's seasons run concurrently with each other. Right. But basketball isn't like that. Like, the men's season ends and then the women's season starts, like, when the men's season ends. So it's literally...
Do you think that helps to give it more attention?
I do think it does, to be honest. I think there's, like... Because if you want to watch basketball, you're pretty much only watching them or G League. Like, it cuts down your options, and so... It's like the same way, like, a lot of people that only watch men's football were watching the Women's World Cup, for example. But it's because there's no football on. Like, there's no men's football on. So, like, I might as well. Right. But yeah, I love the WNBA. Like, I think, like, if I could choose one sport to watch here, like, it might actually be...
Really?
It might be that, to me. Wow. It's just a time difference.
What is it? Oh yeah, because it's the US and we're in the UK. What is it that you love so much about it?
I think it's like, you're guaranteed that something's going to happen in the game. I feel like the thing with football, is that you can watch a game, 90 minutes, hardly any chances. You've literally been watching it for 90 minutes, and nothing's really happened. It could end 0-0, no goals, nothing crazy. And I feel like with basketball, it's either a tight game or a blowout in terms of, like, one team runs away with it. But if one team runs away with it, you're still watching that one team just run away with it.
Really run,
Like, there's very little chance that nothing happens. And I think it's what I love. And it's just so competitive. And it's like, it's team but you get the individual flair more in basketball because there's not that many people on the court at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, and I just think the personality is a bit more vibrant in the WNBA as compared to football. Well, women's football like that.
Oh, I love that. And I also wanted to touch on something as well. Like, I know, sometimes it's easy just to see sport as an entity in itself, but it's like, actually, you'd be surprised at how much it links into politics. And just, like, it's insane. And I remember, especially with the most recent World Cup in Qatar, if you want to, like, touch upon that as well, just kind of, it was all very, very interlinked. I want you to obviously touch on sort of, your experience, because if you did not know, our good sis over here flew on out to Qatar for the World Cup. Paid, baby. Best believe it was paid. And yeah, I just want to obviously hear about your experience with that, but then also your view on sort of the kind of link between like sports, politics, and like just culture.
It's a good question, to be honest. Like, yeah, so I was in Qatar for the World Cup. I think I was there for like just under 6 weeks. And it was nuts because before I went out there was so much talk like in the media, especially sports media, and it was like, oh, like the reasons why it's wrong that Qatar have the World Cup, for example. Like, it was very much political from the beginning here. But I went to Qatar like 3 weeks before the tournament started. And I got to Qatar and the vibe was amazing. Like, the vibe there was so good. And you didn't really... It's almost like, we were in a bubble for the whole time I was there. And then I came back just before the semi. So, like, whilst I was there, everything was good. Like, everyone was so friendly. There was such a sense of community out there. And there were so many people that were working... Like, they worked in London and they were all there. So it was nice because I saw people I knew there. Like, it was nice. And I got back to London just before the second semi-final. But the whole time I was in Qatar, my sister was messaging me and was like, oh, they're not even showing the opening ceremony. Instead, like, in London, like, they weren't even showing the opening ceremony. They were like, oh, instead they're doing, like, they're in the studio and they're talking about why it's wrong. That like, this is whilst the tournament is about to start. But, like... And I got back to London and I was like seeing the difference between what it looked like on screen versus what it was like there. And it was literally completely different. Like, the vibe, it was completely different. And I remember because when I was talking to people out there and they were like, oh, like, I think the main thing was that, like, it was the workers. It was very much, the political stance came from, like, workers.
Like, overworked, their conditions.
Precisely that.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I spoke to a lot of people out there and they were like, this World Cup gave them an opportunity to... Wow. So, like,
it's just I
saw two different... I saw two different stances on it. But yeah, it was strange for me. But what you were saying in terms of, like, the intersection between politics and sport, I think it's important in the sense that I don't think we realise how much pull and gravity sports people have nowadays.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw it back in the day with people like Muhammad Ali, like, and that was very much seen as like a historical moment. Like, it was like individuals. But nowadays, so many sports people are like celebrities. Yeah. And in the same sense that a lot of people put a lot of the burden to celebrities about speaking up about political things.
Matters, yeah.
It almost seems as though when sports people are asked, they want the ones that aren't really. They don't want to completely... Do you know what I mean? They're not trying to completely put their foot in one side. Yeah, they're like, I'm a sports person. Like, I'm not trying to do too much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like as people in general, we all have responsibility to like decide our views and stances on stuff.
Where we stand, yeah.
Yeah, and it almost is a cop-out answer when someone says I'm a sport, but I'm a regular person. I'm not a regular person, and I still have a like. Or sometimes they're like, oh, I don't know enough to make comment on it. Okay, well, what are we doing to make sure you know enough? What is the next step for you to make sure you know enough? And I do think it's important.
Just end there.
Yeah,
that statement.
I think it's important for there to be separation between the sport and like politics.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important that there are times when they come together.
And it's also at the very least acknowledged.
Yeah.
Because no one's asking you to, I guess, put a full-page report.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think having a stance and just being aware of what your stance is and, you know, how you could manoeuvre in that situation, I think that's important as well. In terms of, I guess, you know, your actual, like, experience of being in Qatar and, you know, what they had you doing, what was that like?
Yeah, so I was in the broadcast centre. I and I was essentially working a role. It was like a publishing team, so it was a lot to do with like the press conferences that were happening, and it was weird. I can't remember if it was you I was explaining it to, but essentially like what. So when you guys here in London were watching BBC Sport, for example, and you're watching the World Cup or you're watching press conferences, there's like a lag between, well, a heavy lag between when that's happening in real time and when you guys see it as live here.
Wow, yeah.
And it was essentially making sure that what we're seeing here, like what we're seeing in front of us in Qatar, was being like given to the appropriate people. So like, for example, there was certain stuff that were only recorded for Polish TV. There was certain stuff that was only recorded for...
I remember you saying this, yeah.
But yeah, it was just making sure that like each country's like broadcasting systems have access to the correct stuff, and then they essentially, it's almost like different countries are paying our one center, like our one hub, access to the whole grid of like stuff we'd filmed. But yeah, it was very interesting. Like I met so many different people in the center alone because everyone was working different jobs. Like some people doing presenting, some people were doing like publishing, some people were doing like producing. It was great. It just felt like a creative hub.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Which is, I mean, love to see it.
We do.
Love to hear it. And I mean, I know like obviously this journey that you're going on with like football, women's football and podcasting and all these exciting opportunities, you're still also balancing that with actually having like a role in why are you laughing, girl?
You tell me.
But I feel like that's the realness of it. I think, you know, we have all these opportunities, and I think when you're a multi-talented babe like yourself, there's different avenues you can go down. So it's like, yeah, like there's so many opportunities for you here in this, and you know, your kind of experience in that shows that. But then also, like, you know, you're also very academic and you went to university. Don't smile, girl. Yes, you are. You better own it.
I did.
You're academic, went to university, and you also work in finance.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you find it sort of like balancing those two worlds together?
Yeah, it's a tough question to be honest. I feel like the balance at some points, like it's peaks and troughs. That's what I feel like. There's sometimes when I'm working, I'm just like, boy, like I would love to just be doing one thing, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
this is a safe space, babe.
You like
speak your truth.
So obviously, there's been times here, like when I've been in between, like when I left my previous role, like there was a nice little gap of like 3 months that I was just doing football stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt nice here because it was like, normally when I'm working full time in finance, and like certain football opportunities come up, I'm like, oh, I can't do this. Like it doesn't work with my timetable. So it's like, cool, I can maybe do this one, but out of the 5, I'm only able to do 1. And in that 4-month period, it just felt amazing because it was like, oh, can you do this? Yes. Yep. Can you do this? Yeah. Yep. Can you come to? If we sort out transport for you to come to Manchester, can you do this? And I was like, yep. Yeah. Like literally, there was nothing I was saying no to. And that was great. I mean, it was really good. I feel like people always ask me like, oh, do you want to do football full time? And I kept saying like, I'm not sure, you know, like. I think a part of me likes the fact that the football stuff is not an escape, but like it's something different from my 9 to 5.
Right.
So it means it's like I'm not just constantly like numbers, finance, blah, 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 and I get an opportunity to be like, okay, I love this hobby, but sometimes when the hobby like is becoming so prevalent, it's just like, I'm not sure. It takes the
fun from it, yeah.
Yeah. I was saying to you before though, that ideally I'd like to combine the two,
or at least take what you learn from one to be able to implement into the other.
Yeah, like I'd love to do like a strategy type role, but in a sports field. So like the stuff I'm actually talking about or the stuff I'm doing relates more heavily to like the stuff I like doing outside of work.
Right.
But yeah, juggling the two is a mission.
Well, you're doing it well. Like,
thanks. I hope.
I hope. Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much. And I want to get onto the kind of latter part of this episode where we kind of do diary prompts, because obviously we're Duvet Diaries. Period. So I'm going to tell you the first diary prompt. It's nothing scary.
I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous.
Scared. It's like, why are you guys scared?
Because you know you're so...
I'm scary.
You are.
Okay, so the first diary prompt is, I'm going to read it out. Okay. You can read it out after me, but essentially you just need to finish the sentence. So, I wouldn't be the person I am today without...
friends. My friends.
Your friends.
Yeah.
You expand on
that? I don't know. Like, I feel like I've got different friends for different stuff. And I feel like the friends I've got, like, I know there's certain friends I can go to whenever, like, I'm feeling like this, or there's friends I go to when I want to have lots of fun, or there's friends I can go to when I want to, like, have a serious conversation.
Right.
And I feel like I get the part of myself that needs
like
adhering to. Yeah. Like, sure. And I get it from all my friends.
Right.
Yeah, like, they just make, because when I'm at work, and I'm just like, oh, like, I can't come and kill myself. Like, you know, like, I'm always like, at this point, it is what it is. But, like, the release from it is, like, speaking to friends or seeing friends, and that's why I'm like, I wouldn't probably be here. Like, or, like, when I speak about, like, friends as well, I feel like all my friends sort of push me to do more stuff.
Right.
Whether that's, like, verbally, like, say, like, encouraging me, or, like, just them doing a lot of stuff makes me want to do more stuff as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
for sure. Okay, cool. And the next diary prompt is, I feel the same. It's like you laugh
I'm
before
scared.
I'm
scared.
What do you think I'm gonna say? Like, I like to be in a strip club when, like, what do you think I'm gonna
speak your truth, man.
No, for sure. Like, okay, cool. Then the next one is, I feel the safest when
I feel the safest when I'm talking sport.
Oh, that's so
all right,
cute.
Relax, man. You're not relaxed.
Moyo hates any time I'm, like, sentimental or, like, she's just like, chill out.
Chill out.
What do you say, JJ, yourself?
JJ, man. Like...
No, but that is so cute. And I guess that just shows, like, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So keep doing it.
Yeah.
IJN. That means in Jesus' name, because we're Christians here. Just make it specific, the God I pray to.
What is going on?
No, because I feel like sometimes it's like up in the air, but I'm just like, no, like, I just want to be specific, you know? Okay.
This is a different app, guys.
Okay, and the last diary prompt is, I want to be remembered by.
That's a tough one. I want to be remembered by, yeah. I don't know if it's the by that's throwing me.
Yeah, someone said the same before.
Oh, did they? That's so funny.
But it's like, it could be interpreted in any way. It could be
cool.
like, by as in, by your traits, by something you've done, by...
Cool.
You know. Bad person you are.
I want to be... I want to be remembered. No, I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm also not trying to lead you in.
No, cool.
I
want to be remembered... I'm going to say 4, yeah. Is that okay? Because the 4 is, yeah. I want to be... onto
the podcast and just out here changing things. Are you trying to say that, like...
No, the question's fantastic.
Like, grab us off, basically.
No, I think...
So after this episode, I'm going to have different diary prompts, because I've been ashamed.
Okay, I'll do...
And I did a good English literature, and I just feel like an idiot.
I'll do... I want to be remembered by... I want to be remembered...
Do 4.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I want to be remembered for excelling... I feel like excelling just... encapsulates everything, but like I want to be remembered for excelling both in like personal like growth and development, but also just like what I put out. So like whether that's content or like presenting stuff or like just whatever I'm doing, whether that's work, jobs, content, whatever, I just want to excel now and I want to be remembered for excelling.
Do you feel that comes from growing up in a household where
with AFs
and with just like parents in general just want you to be the best? Like, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying or if you've grown up with this saying, but it's like you have to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes it's actually ingrained within us to actually just have to be like the best. Do you feel like it's come from that, or do you feel like you've sort of unlearned that and now you just kind of want it for yourself? Or
I feel like I've actually unlearned it, and I feel like I unlearned it before. Like my dad, like I'm not joking. Every like 2 months, it's like, oh, you sure you don't want to do your masters? I said, boy, I've just about finished undergrad.
You did not see me like killing myself for a dissertation.
I just about made it through that year. Right. Yeah, I said I got nothing left. Then he said, no, but like everyone in this house has done their masters. No, and my sister's doing her masters now. Yeah, like she's almost finished.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, but your sister's going to be done soon. And I said, yeah, and when she's done, I'll clap for her. And that'll be it. Like,
I'll cheer her on and clap her off the stage.
I literally could not care less. I was like, well done. But yeah, I feel like now I just want it for me. But I want it in different areas than what like parents want it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like parents see excelling as different stuff to what I see excelling as.
And I feel like you'll never find true peace or true like self-assurance if you're always looking to your parents for
completely agree.
that sort of that validation. Because I think especially like our parents and the generation they've come from, like education is a big thing because that can give you the freedom to do what you want to do. But it's like, as much as that was true for the times I'm living in, there's also so many people that didn't go to university or dropped out of school at 16, absolutely excelling. So, and I also think that their idea of success that they have differs as well. Like, I don't know, like, as much as my parents would love to say, like, you know, be happy and be whoever you want to be with and do whatever makes you happy, I think they potentially would be unhappy if I never got married. So it's like, who are you fooling? Like, you know what I mean? So I think
my dad would even be unhappy if you didn't get married.
For sure. What does he call me? Ellie?
Yeah, it would actually be sad.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think, like, in order to kind of truly, like, you know, have that sort of, not distance, but just be happy for yourself and, you know, you kind of need to detach in a way. So I think, that's important that you're kind of excelling, not for them, but for yourself. So that's important. Amazing. Okay, and to end off every single episode, I always ask my guests if they were to write a diary entry to a past version of themselves based on this conversation. It could be you from 2 years ago, it could be you from, you know, baby Moyo, cute in those little pictures, or you like 6 months ago, like a past version of you. What would you say to her?
It's kind of generic here, but like I'd probably say just like keep grinding. Like,
to what point that past version of you specifically would you say that to?
Maybe like through like uni, like A levels, uni, that sort of period. Yeah, I feel like when we were younger, I was like, I felt like I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't realise that, like, was I really thinking this, or was this just something I said when I was younger and now I want to follow through on it? Like, do you remember when we were like, oh, what do you want to be when you were, like, when you grew up? And we were both saying stuff that we're not doing now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd say, like, keep going and just, like, strive to what I want to do, essentially, as opposed to, like, external sources.
Or what you feel like you're obliged to continue doing.
So, just keep going in the direction that I actually want to go into.
I think going to the schools that we did, we didn't really feel like gap years were really pushed on us, or just the idea to have that sort of
time for yourself.
Because
I want it now.
Yeah, no, I want it now, and I wish, like, if you're an 18-year-old and you're, you know, finishing high school, secondary school, sixth form, consider taking a gap year. Or if you want to go to university, make sure you know what you want to do. I think that almost freedom of having to break away from, like, what's expected of you is so hard. Like, was so hard for me anyway. I felt like I just had to go down the route of what everyone else was doing, what was expected of me. But I think just making decisions for yourself and going down that path is just all help you in the long run, because a break is necessary. Because you come out of university and it's like, ooh, you're begging for a break. And if you take a break, then you feel like you're in limbo. So it's, you know, take it while you can. But yeah, well, thank you so much, Moyo, for being on here. You know, if you want to tell people where they can find you, where they can find Goaldiggers, you know, plug yourself.
Let me get this Goaldiggers socials right, because every time I'm like announcing the pod, I always get it wrong. Okay, cool.
You got this. They can find you if not. It's in your bio.
It is in my bio. You can find me on Insta and Twitter at Moyo's Laboratory. That's my name everywhere, to be honest. I might have to change that, but we'll see.
We love it. For now.
And then you can find Goaldiggers at Goaldiggers UK on Twitter and Goaldiggers UK _ on Instagram. Got it right.
Amazing. And yeah, well, thank you so much for watching another episode of Duvet Diaries, and yeah, see you soon.